Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Happiest Hour on Earth. I'm your host, Emily.
And I'm your other host, Chris.
And we're so excited that you have joined us for another episode. I'm excited to be back. If you tuned in last week, you probably noticed I was absent. Some weeks and days, the capacity just isn't there at the end of a day with little kids. It just happens, you know?
Yeah.
I mean...
2 boys specifically, always a crazy time.
It's a lot. And so, this guy took the reins and did an awesome episode without me, but I'm excited to be back tonight and to be doing thank you. I'm pumped for this episode though. It's going to be really fun. We're going to be talking about our favorite non-ride Disneyland things to do. There's a lot of things to do that are not even related to the rides in Disney. And we just thought we needed to chat about them because the list is quite large. And, you know, for some people, maybe they think that Disneyland is just about the rides. But that's definitely not the case.
Yeah, that's how we lived our life for a while. You know, we went in, we tried to get as many rides done as possible, and we missed out on a lot of the very special activities that you could do, you know? And I think this also, whether it's someone who doesn't like rides and doesn't want to do those bigger rides, or maybe you're pregnant and you're trying to find other things to do while you're at the park, which we actually have an episode on called Should You Go to Disney While Pregnant? I'll pop it up here on YouTube if you want to check that out. But there's a lot of reasons why people may not be able to do the rides or want to do the rides or just want to experience something new at the park.
That's true. And that list was probably similar to the list that we have tonight because a lot of the things that you cannot do in Disneyland while pregnant are just fun things to do regardless.
Oh, yeah.
So we're excited for our list. We have a list of 9 things.
We do.
So if you have a 10th, then please comment it below if you're watching on YouTube, or I guess you can on Spotify now as well.
I think you can on Spotify. Yes. So
supposedly.
Give it a try. But if it doesn't work or you're on Apple Podcasts, go over to our YouTube video, write down your 10th best thing. Actually, regardless of, you know, if there's one we haven't talked about, just what your favorite thing is. And then if we missed one, definitely let us know.
Let us know because there's just so much. There's so much to Disneyland. So give us your top non-ride things to do. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into this episode.
All right, so before we get into this list, if you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button. We are so close to 1,000 subs. I know I say this every week, but as I'm saying it, we are getting a little bit more subs, so it's kind of working. So I'll just say it again. That really means so much to us. If you're on a podcasting platform, go ahead and click the follow button and rate us or review us 5 stars. That helps out our show so much and only takes a couple of seconds. And so that would mean so much to us. Also, we heard from a lot of our followers about their favorite non-ride Disney things to do. So definitely stick around after our list because you're going to hear a lot of fun ones from our listeners. And some of those might spark, you know, more ideas for you as well. So with that, let's go ahead and get into number 1, which I think is a very big one here.
I think it's probably the biggest, and you all will probably agree. It's definitely one of our favorite pastimes in the park. And that is eating and drinking. The opportunities are, there's just endless possibilities for the food and the drinks in Disney. We have quite a few favorites.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, from just the snacks like pretzels and corn dogs and
Dole Whip.
Yeah, like just the very basic Disney snacks to the a little more upper scale style of eating.
It's more of like an experience, right? When you go to Disneyland, a lot of times you're grabbing the quick to go things so that you could, you know, make it to your next ride. But if you're
got a little more
ride and a little more time, there's some more slowed down experiences. Great.
Yeah. If you have more time to work with, some of our most favorite places to go are obviously Lamplight Lounge.
That's number 1.
That has definitely worked its way to the very top of our food list, I would say. Our favorite place to go enjoy a meal and a drink.
We have to go every single time.
Literally the best, top tier experience while in California Adventure. I would love to be able to watch World of Color from Lamplight. That has yet to happen, but that's like knocking two things out at once, a meal and drink and a show at the same time. I've heard it's incredible from Lamplight Lounge. So that is something we have to experience still.
Yeah.
But regardless, Lamplight Lounge is incredible. Best atmosphere, best food, best drinks around, and just the best experience. So definitely a favorite. Also, Oga's in Batu is one of the best.
So fun.
Such a fun atmosphere. I mean, it really puts you in a Star Wars bar.
That's what I was gonna say, is like, we didn't go on our last trip, but it's like an extra activity that makes you feel
so immersed
into Star Wars. Yeah. And similar with like Salvi's workshop, but you're paying so much for that lightsaber. But I would love that experience. But yeah, this is a good way to get some drinks and just immerse a little bit more into Star Wars.
It really is such an incredible atmosphere. I love it. And we do need to go back again. The only thing that I feel like I've seen, and like in our experience, and I've seen other people talk about it, is just how crowded it gets, and the fact that if there isn't a lot of space, they will just put you with people you don't know at the same table. And it's cool. Like, you know, obviously it's nice to meet other people, but sometimes you kind of just want to be with your people. Yeah. And, you know, be able to chit chat and stuff.
It would have been nice if it was a little bigger, for sure.
A little bigger. Yeah. Because it's always, you know, people are always in there. So, you know, sometimes you just want a little bit more space to yourself, but regardless, great atmosphere, great drinks. And another one, obviously, up there with Lamplight. Yeah. Trader Sam's, forever a favorite.
Oh yeah. It's so
always has been for the drinks, but we've gotten food like some of the more recent times that we've gone, also so great.
Yeah, so that's located at the Disneyland Hotel. So what we like to do is, if we go to the park, you know, we drive down there, we check into our hotel, and we don't have tickets for that day. It's a great opportunity to check out downtown Disney. There's a lot of restaurants there, by the way, right now. But we love going to the Disneyland Hotel, going to Trader Sam's, and the what else is it called?
Tangaroa Terrace.
Tangaroa Terrace, yeah. Getting that, you know, Polynesian food.
It's so good. Like, whether you sit inside or outside, it is just, the ambiance is impeccable. It's so good. I love sitting outside. I think even more than inside, because they just have those little tiki torches out there. You've got like just the Disneyland pool and like all of the buildings for the hotel right there. And it's just so like, I don't know. It's relaxing and just so fun. And I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah. Trader Sam's is definitely a must if you're in downtown Disney area. And then a couple that just kind of come to our head, like especially on recent trips that we like to do. If you want something, you know, quick, but still an experience, the Tropical Hideaway right by the Tiki Room. It's great to just grab a Dole Whip or a Bao Bun. And you're sitting right next to Jungle Cruise. So, you know, you just see the sights, hear the sounds of the Jungle Cruise and all that. And so that's a fun, like, quick experience. Yeah. And then, like, other grab and go things. We always get the cold brew black calf in Batu in Star Wars Land. Always a big fan of corn dogs. Yeah, what else?
Corn dogs, my personal favorite that I have to get every time is a clam chowder bread bowl. Oh, yeah. Whether it be at
Ancast Cafe.
Yes, which is on Pacific Wharf, which is now San Francisco. That one's probably my favorite, but in Disneyland at
Harbor Galley.
Right, there's also a great one there, and there's like kind of a little tucked away spot to eat and to watch the Mark Twain go by, and it's a great experience.
Oh yeah, there's so much. If you want to go more upscale, you know, Carthay Circle, Blue Bayou, especially when it comes to experiences, so much fun. But there's just so much to eat and drink at the parks, especially, you know, California Adventure. There's a lot more to drink with adult beverages and everything.
And we probably have barely scratched the surface, although we talked about this for a long time. So,
hey, if you have any questions on food or drink, let us know in the comments below, and we will give you some more tips and more favorites for sure. But
definitely
moving right along, our next one is going to be the Disneyland Vehicles. And so technically you might say these are rides, quote unquote, but they're modes of transportation. And we never really did these until recently, and we love them so much. So the first one here I want to talk about is the Disneyland Railroad. Of course, you've always seen it go around. It has such a special place in Disneyland because Walt would always tinker with trains and at his house and his yard, and he had this fascination about trains, and so he always wanted a train in his park. There's videos of him, riding his little train at his house, and he barely fit on it. But then now at Disneyland, he was able to build a full, steam train there that goes around the perimeter of the park, and this is just such a incredible experience, and like makes you feel like Walt is still there. And so what we would suggest is go at the Main Street station, because any other station's kind of hard to get on because there's already a lot of people on there. But everyone gets on and off at the Main Street station for the most part. So you'll be able to find a seat there. Just enjoy the sights and the sounds of Disneyland. Yes. There's a lot of cool areas that you wouldn't be able to see if you were just walking around the park. And one thing that we like to do, we like to get a corn dog at the Little Red Wagon, right? Is it called?
Yeah.
And
or any
like
soda
or any snack and just go on the train. You're eating your snack or your lunch and you're just seeing so many different sights of Disneyland. Definitely a must. You will love it if you haven't done it yet. The next one is the Mark Twain Riverboat. And so this is also really cool because you get a different perspective of Disneyland that you normally don't get to see. And we usually go at night, so we don't even really get to see much, but it was like a tradition we started with our son, and it's such an experience. It's so beautiful. I mean, and we do it the last day. Yeah. That's kind of how we close out Disneyland, because we get to look at the whole park one last time with all the lights. The lights on, everybody just roaming the streets. It's so magical to just like have a moment kind of quiet, just hearing the sound of that the steam coming out, and like just the guy speaking on the he has such a good voice. It's so good. It's such a top tier Disneyland experience, and I'm so glad that we've made it a part of our trips. Honestly, it is so amazing. So definitely do that. Maybe if you're stuck between if you want to go in the daytime or nighttime, try to catch it at dusk while the lights are turning on. That way you'll be able to see a lot, but then you'll see those flittering lights that are just so quintessential Disney magic. So definitely do that. And then the last one we have here are just the Main Street vehicles. Usually when we walk into the park, we're trying to get to the ride we want to do. So we usually, walk where we're trying to head, get on that ride, and then just go about our day. But if you've done a lot, go back to Main Street, hop on a vehicle, whether that's a horse-drawn trolley or carriage, trolley. Or one of the old little buggies. Oh my gosh, it's so cool, and it really puts you in that time period. Of course, when you're walking down Main Street, it feels like Old Town Marceline, Missouri, but you're trying to get somewhere, so you're using your feet. People have had feet for a long time, but they haven't had those old-timey vehicles for a long time. So when you ride those and you hear that little horns honking and all that stuff, it's such a cool little experience, and they bring you right to the castle, and it's a must. It really is fun. I mean, I feel like since we had kids, we've really just kind of tapped into doing a lot more of the things that than we ever used to do, because our kids obviously can't go on every single ride with us. And it just kind of gave the opportunity to try other things, and they're so fun. And it's like, it just opens up a whole new door of special experiences in Disneyland, especially because our son loves cars and trains and all of these things. Now it's become such a special thing to do for all of us together. I just love it. It's so special. So special. But moving on, another thing that we absolutely love to do, and we've talked about this countless times on this podcast, but the animation building in Hollywood Land in California Adventure is a must. At some point in your trip, I mean, we definitely end up in there every single time we're in Disneyland. It's just so unbelievably peaceful and just like immersive. I always use that word, but being in that room that you first walk into where there's all of those scenes
playing up on the screens in front of you, surrounding you in that room.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain just how like perfect that room is, but
it's incredible.
It's like old drawings of those movies mixed with moving scenes and the songs. It's just, my gosh, I can't even explain how much I love it in there. I feel like one time I think we spent like 2 hours in there. It was like a really, really hot day. We were all really tired and we just didn't want to leave. We just stayed in there for so long.
Yeah, that's a pro tip. It has amazing AC. So if it's ever really, really hot, go in there, you cool off, and you just get to watch this immersive, 360 Disney art and Disney music display.
Yeah.
And also another pro tip, they do allow you to bring, I think, food too, but drink for sure in the main lobby section. So, going in there with a soda or a beer or something like that and just cooling off in nice AC before you start your second leg of the day. Really, really nice. Great
thing to do for sure. And also there's just so many, like, aside from that main room, which is where we usually end up spending most of our time. But aside from that, there's like so much stuff to do beyond that room, like just the
Sorcerer's Workshop.
Workshop is so fun. There's the actual animation class you can take.
That's called Animation Academy.
Oh, okay. Where they teach you how to draw characters. We've done that in the past. It's really fun. Turtle Talk with Crush. We hadn't done it in years, and then we just did it on our last trip, and it honestly is so fun. It's like, it's obviously kind of more geared towards kids, but the like comedy aspect of it is so funny still. Like even as an adult, I was cracking up, and it's a very fun experience, whether you're an adult or you want to bring your kids to it. Highly recommend.
Totally. Yeah, that whole building is amazing.
It really
Love it so much. So moving on, another one we had here is, this is kind of broad and then I'm going to break it down a little bit, but it is really cool, is experiencing hidden areas. And so what I mean by that is just areas that people usually, did you say spooky? Hidden areas. If you see cast members only, walk through those. No, just kidding. I'm not condoning that. But what I mean by this is like areas that people often walk past and don't, go. And some of these are actually kind of secret. But the first one here is the Adventureland Treehouse. We just went on it the last time we were there, and it's so cool because you go up there, not too many people are on there, but you just get a cool vantage point of Disneyland, and you're just looking out. You see the rivers of America, you see Frontierland, you see New Orleans Square, and you could just sit up there and it's pretty peaceful. There'll be people walking by, but you could just, lean on the banister and just look out at Disneyland and just soak up all that magic for a long time. And so I love doing that. Gets you away from the crowds and just lets you look at the masterpiece that is Disneyland. Love that. Another one is Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough. Not a lot of people do this. There'll be some people in there for sure, but you guys know hopefully where this is. If you walk through the castle or under the castle, look to the left and the entrance is right there. Really unassuming. So a lot of people miss it. We've talked to some people and they're like, did you know you could do this? And we've been Disney fans for a long time. So we're like, oh yeah, but a lot of people do skip this. And it's just a really cool way to experience the story of Sleeping Beauty from within the castle and to actually be within the castle. There's a lot of cool effects within that storytelling, but I'm glad that there's something dedicated to Sleeping Beauty besides just the castle. And, Walt wanted to change the castle from Snow White's castle to Sleeping Beauty's castle when Disneyland first opened up in 1955 to promote the project that they're working on, Sleeping Beauty, which came out in 1959, I believe. And so there's just some really cool history with that movie and Disneyland. And so it's just really cool to be inside the castle. But the last one I have here is walking some secret paths. And I love going to these areas.
Me too.
So the first one I want to talk about here is the Grizzly River Run area. So in California Adventure, you see the big bear mountain. And so that's where the Grizzly River Run ride is. We never do it because it just drenches you like crazy.
You will get very wet.
There's a secret pathway here. So if you it's kind of hard to find like near the Soarin' side, But if you're near Ariel's Undersea Adventure, the Little Mermaid ride, and you're looking at the ride, there's like a big lift hill there and like a water wheel. And so instead of going left towards the Grand Californian Hotel, instead of going left, veer right and go under that lift hill. Mm-hmm. And you just keep going. And it's usually no one over there.
It's like empty.
It's usually empty. And there's like little cool scenery spots. But then you get to one area where it's just this rushing
massive waterfall.
It's so cool. And I like to just stand there and just watch the water pouring over. It's just really cool with no one else around. And if you keep walking, then you actually get a cool vantage point of people coming down one of the hills and getting drenched. And so, watching that while you remain dry and comfortable is always really exciting.
So fun.
So definitely check that one out. And then there's another one in Disneyland near Haunted Mansion, kind of in Splash Mountain.
What we just talked about with the clam chowder Red Bulls.
So where she gets her Harbor Galley clam chowder Red Bulls. If you go to that restaurant, it's across the path. I almost said the street from Haunted Mansion. You just keep walking there, and you'll see Fowler's Inn. It's like a little building there.
Just looks like a little shack. Yeah,
a little shack.
Easy to miss.
Just keep walking, and then you'll find yourself where there's more seating, even more seating, kind of near the Columbia ship is usually docked there. And so you could eat over there. It's usually pretty empty. But if you look to the left, there's some steps that go up. And that's a whole new path that connects you from that area to like almost past Splash Mountain.
Yeah. You can see the very end of the Splash Mountain drop.
Oh yeah. So
from right there.
Or Tiana's Bay Adventure.
Yes.
You guys know what we're talking about. So right as you splash down that hill, you do kind of like a U-turn after. Mm-hmm. And you actually, if you go up those steps and look to your right, I believe, you see people who have just
come down the hill.
Down the hill. And so that's really fun to watch as well. I like the secret paths near people getting drenched.
Apparently.
Is a theme there. But
and it's funny because when you're on the ride, you have no idea that that's up there. Like you're just so caught up in like the hill you just went down that you don't realize there's people above you that can see what just happened.
It's
pretty
cool.
funny.
Definitely take that path and just enjoy some nice quiet walks in Disneyland away from the crowds.
Yes.
So nice.
That is a top tier experience for sure.
Yeah.
Because a lot of your time in Disneyland, you are surrounded by people.
Oh, for sure.
So anytime you can find those kind of more private areas to hang out, you got to take advantage.
Serene Disney. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. But moving on, one of our next things that we love to do is meeting characters. Mm-hmm. This is always a fun Disneyland experience. I mean, we've always done it, but it's especially fun with kids, I would say, because they just love those characters. They're so real to them. It's just so incredible to watch their little eyes light up meeting those characters. And so there's countless characters you can meet. If you go on the Disneyland app, you can see which characters will be out, what time, where you can find them, which is really helpful. Some of our favorites are obviously Mickey. That's, he's the mouse that started it all. We love to meet him at his house in Toontown. That's just kind of the classic spot. And it is a much more like sweet, intimate, like slow experience than like kind of out on Main Street where he goes out occasionally. I much prefer going to Mickey's house to meet him. It's just so fun. And there's like little Mickey cartoons playing while you're in the queue to meet him, which just kind of makes it more fun. Yeah. But aside from Mickey, we love meeting Pluto. He's
definitely a favorite.
Such a favorite. He's always so sweet and just like wraps you in a hug and just so like interactive with you and with kids, and it's just so much fun. I could go on and on about the characters.
If you just see a character, you obviously have to stop and take a photo with him. But the app is a great tip.
It's very helpful.
Yeah, you could just there's the second bottom from the left, I believe, which brings you to the map of the park. And then instead of attractions at the top, click that, go down to characters, and you could see when certain characters that you or your kids want to meet. And that's really nice. There's also you could filter by entertainment and see when certain shows are going to be there, which actually brings us to our next one, which is Streetmosphere. And so I love Streetmosphere so much.
Yeah.
The parades and nighttime entertainment are great for sure, but that's like It's like a designated time that you're standing and you're watching a show. What I love about Streetmosphere, which is just street atmosphere entertainment, is just that it feels like you're walking in that area and you just so happen to stumble upon some music. So like in Main Street, you might see the Dapper Dans performing there, which fits that time period so perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in New Orleans Square, you might hear the Jambalaya Jazz Band, or you might hear the Bootstrappers, which are the pirate band that comes out. And
love them.
It's so great. You also have the Disneyland Band, which again is more like an actual show rather than you just kind of bumped into it. But the Disneyland Band is absolutely amazing. They play in Tomorrowland, Main Street, a couple different areas. So definitely go into the app, filter by entertainment, and see when they're going to be. Five and Dime, they're in California Adventure. Love them so much. Some jazz. But yeah, that kind of street music where you're just walking by and you just sit and watch for a little bit. It just feels, oh, I'm really in New Orleans. Oh, I'm really in like a small town, Marceline, Missouri in the 1900s.
It adds so much to the atmosphere.
Yeah, California Adventure. It's so perfect. So definitely see those performers. They are absolutely amazing. And it's just so fun to catch them. There's also in Fantasyland, I forgot what they're called, the Pearly Band or something like that, that they usually come out with Mary Poppins and Bert.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
they'll
right.
jump on the carousel and they'll be playing their
true.
instruments on there. So that's another really fun one to see.
So fun.
Oh, I love the Streetmosphere.
All of it is so good.
Yeah. And then another one here too, because you were talking about Toontown and meeting Mickey at his house and all that stuff, is just the idea of playing in Disneyland. Like usually we go on rides and we meet characters or we eat and stuff like that, but there's a whole aspect of play that I think, especially with the new Toontown, it's just so fun to do. So yeah, one area is Toontown. You could go there with your kids. There's some like really fun like activities, like buttons and slides and sound effects and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, the area kind of by like Goofy's house.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a whole new area as far as I know, since it reopened with a whole bunch of slides and like just like a silly house kind of like stuff to do.
Yeah, fun little things to spin and turn and push and all that.
That was a fun area for sure.
Yeah. And then the over in California Adventure, the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. I still am trying to remember if that's what they call it now, but it's right by the Grand Californian Hotel and the Grizzly River Run. This is like take Toontown and bring it up a notch because there's ropes, obstacle course type things like nets that you like can walk across. There's tire swings that
like kind of zip line
tire swings. Yeah, rock climbing, slides, a whole bunch of fun things here. So if your kids are a little bit older, they would love this area. It's really beautiful too.
Even younger kids, it's fun. Like they maybe can't do some of the older kids stuff like that, you have to be a little bit bigger for, but there's a lot of stuff for little kids too. I think there's little slides and it's just kind of fun to like walk around the path. Honestly, there's like a couple waterfalls and it's just kind of beautiful and all again away from the main crowds.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And then the last area where you could just go and explore, without thinking about rides or anything, is Pirate Slayer on Tom Sawyer's Island. And we have not been here in such a long time. It's been a long time. And I don't know why, because we have our kids. And that's another reason why to go. But you could take the little raft over to Tom Sawyer's Island, Pirate Slayer. There's like a whole bunch of cool things to do there.
Yeah, we have to do it next time we go. We really do.
For sure. But yeah, another place where you could just go and explore and play and have fun.
Yeah. Just kind of feel like a lost boy in Neverland. Yeah. That's kind of how I feel.
They switch that to like Neverland and there's almost more of a Peter theme, I'd be so happy for
I know.
I think it might have to be even bigger, but that would be such a cool idea for like a different park.
I've always thought that for, like the Lost
Mermaid
Boys.
Lagoon.
Totally.
Treehouse.
The treehouse where their little hideout
is. Oh my gosh, that would be so perfect.
So good. But
so cool.
Anyways, moving on. Another thing that we love to do is shop in Disney, both on Main Street and on Buena Vista Street in California Adventure and in downtown Disney. some of our favorite places to shop for sure. I mean, like the Emporium on Main Street is always a favorite. Elias & Co. on Buena Vista Street is so good. Obviously,
like
World of Disney
over there. That's really good.
A lot of the
Disney. Oh, yeah.
I know I can't remember like the specific names of some of the stores, but I mean, most of the stores in Disneyland on either side of Main Street, they'll kind of like lead into each other. A lot of them do. And I love to just walk through those stores. A lot of times we end up buying stuff. Sometimes we literally just go and walk around and just admire everything.
Oh, for sure.
Because we could spend our entire life savings in there if we wanted to. But there's just so much and it's so fun, especially kind of towards the end of our trip, I think is when we usually kind of decide on what we want to splurge on, like what we want our big souvenir of the trip to be. I feel like usually what we end up getting is a mug, coffee mug.
We use it every single day. So it's like, you know, reminds you of the Disney parks daily.
Yes. The majority of our coffee mugs have definitely come from Disneyland. So definitely a favorite souvenir to get, but there's so much from clothing to like other home type stuff to coffee to, you know, honestly, it's endless. There's so much to get and it's just so fun to kind of browse those stores.
Totally. So we're coming up to our last one. We had to end it here because this is definitely important. This was not something that we kind of sounds crazy. We didn't really have a heavy focus on this aspect of Disneyland until we started going together and kind of slowed down a little bit. You did. I did. I didn't. I was always like ride.
But by the end of the night, I always wanted to end it with usually with Fantasmic, but World of Color as well. I guess World of Color kind of became a thing more with us because that was around the time that we started going together. Yeah.
So we're talking about nighttime entertainment or parades in the day or shows, right? Like Disney World has a lot of shows. Disneyland used to have shows at the Hyperion and the Fantasyland
Bring
Theater.
it back.
Oh my gosh, Mickey and the Magical Map was the best. But
So
any type
good.
of entertainment like that, it really just brings about the Disney magic. Yes, you get the Disney magic just going on rides, but you amp it up when you see a show like this. And like you said, World of Color, absolutely amazing in California Adventure, Fantasmic in Disneyland, the fireworks. Magic Happens, the parade. We were never parade people there. I could say that. We watched some entertainment. We were never parade people until we had our kids. And I don't know why we slept on it for so long because I love, like, especially Magic Happens, such a fun parade.
So fun.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, hearing the music, there's just a jolliness to it.
It is really fun. And like a lot of the time, characters will just like run over to you or to your child while you're sitting there watching if you're like up close enough. Peter Pan ran up to us, not this last trip, but the one before that. And our little boy loves Peter Pan and always has. And so it was so precious.
Yeah, it was just so cool to have that moment with him. I think he was like doing high five too slow with me or something like that.
Yeah, and then he let him high five.
It's just so fun. So definitely make time to see those parades. We saw a Pixar one last time, which was really cool. Also, if you're a big Star Wars fan, we have not done this yet, but we were talking to some friends who did it and they said it's amazing. So we always thought that people would go to Batuu, Star Wars Land, Galaxy's Edge, to just see the fireworks from there because it's really beautiful. You get the mountains, the spires are lit up and you see fireworks right behind there. Super cool. I didn't know for the longest time that they actually have designated music. So it's almost like you're seeing a Star Wars show there every time they do the fireworks. And it's called the Fire of the Rising Moons. And I think a lot of people go there and they bring their lightsabers and they light them up first before the fireworks go off. And there's this whole experience. And we haven't done it and we need to go. But there's just a lot of good nighttime entertainment and daytime entertainment. Oh, it's so you gotta go though. It hits you in the feels.
It really does.
So definitely make time for that when you're at a Disney park.
Yes. And I would say that rounding out our list, that was a good place to end it because I just feel like we were saying in the beginning, sometimes we can get caught up in feeling like we just have to accomplish every ride or, accomplish this or that. But I think what makes Disneyland so special is that there are so many different things to enjoy that it makes coming back every time like new because you can do so many different things on every trip and not even scratch the surface of everything else that there is. Yeah. And it's so special to get to experience all of the different things that Disney has to offer outside of the rides and including the rides. Yeah. It offers so much.
We are only talking about Disneyland because we've only been to Walt Disney World once and there's so much to do.
Way more.
We can't tackle that just yet. I mean, oh my gosh, you need so many weeks to experience it to the fullest, but we do want to go back and hopefully we will. But
yes,
we have some from our listeners. And so you guys are amazing. When I saw this list of how many people responded, I was just like, our listeners are the best. You guys are absolutely amazing. We love hearing from you guys. So thank you so much for responding to our Instagram sticker. And if you are listening to our podcast and you don't follow us on Instagram, go ahead and find us on Instagram at the happiest hour on earth, because we'll post some of these sometimes and you get to, be a part of the episode and let your voice be heard. And so we have some really cool ones here. I tried my hardest to, fit similar ones together so you can kind of see how many people said the same thing. So if there's a lot there, you're like, okay, I should probably do that. But so you'll see some that are like tied
kinda
together
similar,
because there are a lot here.
There's so many, which is so exciting. We love to hear from you guys. Our first one comes from @K_Ellie, who said Animation Academy. It's my new fave thing to do at Disney.
Yeah.
We already chatted about that. So we 100% agree. One of the best non-ride things to do in the park for sure.
Oh yeah, so true.
Such
and then
favorite.
We also heard from @Alicia_Gray96, who said the Animation Academy or listening to the Dapper Dans perform. Both so great.
So good. Yeah. Streetmosphere, as he was talking about. So good. The Main Street Planners said Animation Academy and DCA and Magic Happens at Disneyland.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then
So good.
Mrs.Smith.8.3.24 said the drawing classes at the animation building at the Animation Academy and the Magic Happens parade. So yeah, we got a lot of
everybody loves Animation Academy and the parades.
Oh, for sure. Oh, this next one, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
Let's start us off here.
I know. Maybe should I just kind of go through everybody that said the same thing?
Yeah, go for it. Have fun with it.
So @Brit Street, a good friend of ours, said, eat. That's all she said. @NikkiMouse.club also said, eat. Adventure.
I don't blame them. There's a lot of good stuff.
I mean, yes, this was literally the first thing on our list. So definitely in agreement here. At Adventure Bound Travel Co. said, try all the snacks. At Cami Michael said, checking out all the treats. At AM_Castaneda said, eat snacks, meet characters, shop, nighttime entertainment.
Oh yeah.
All things that we had mentioned as well. Next comes from @Bran M Leo _, who said, eat a Dole Whip and sit by the rivers of America, listening to all the sounds around me.
That's a big thing
So
for us
good.
that we said too. Yeah, grabbing a snack and
Just sitting and watching.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure.
So true. Jackie Kendall 123 said, eat all the seasonal food. Good one. That's true. We didn't even mention that, but yes, seasonally snacks and treats switch out in the park. So anytime you're there, there's probably new things to try. So definitely do that. @just_Shano said Trader Sam's. Yes, definitely agree. A favorite.
So good. And then, so that was all the food ones. I mean, there's more food ones here, but I felt like they kind of stuck with this in the category. But we did have one outlier here because I don't think a lot of people put this one, but @Brianna Salas 36 said she enjoys Autopia because she gets yelled at by cast members. And so she didn't explain further than that. So I'm like, I'm just imagining she's just going super fast, maybe bumping into a lot of cars. She's like
causing some ruckus.
Furious. Yeah, Autopia style, and just you had to let us know what gets
explain further.
I would love to hear about that, but I don't want to race you. That's all I know, because I'm sure you would win if they're telling you to slow down.
Sound like you're terrifying to take on. So
the winner of all, for sure. So this next one is more just kind of like people watching and soaking up the magic. A lot of people put this down too. So we're at Amy Nicole 591, which, by the way, congrats. friend of ours. She's due pretty soon. So that's
very
super,
soon
super
was her
exciting.
first baby.
Oh yeah. So she said, just sit on Main Street and take in the magic, ideally with a churro. Love that.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Of course.
At Jordan the Park Hopper said, people watch from Jolly Holiday. At Lulu B _buzzin_memory said, people watching. At What I'm Wearing to Disney said, strolling around, literally just walking around and sitting on the porch. The porch
on Main Street.
Porch on the right if you're walking down Main Street. And a lot of people, I feel like they rope
always
drop
taken.
just to get
Yes.
to sit on the porch. But
I don't think I've ever seen it not taken, because if it were not taken at some point, I would steal it. It's like you have to just be like hanging out by it, waiting for people to leave in order to get that spot.
Yeah, that's like bucket list now. One day we sit there, we have a snack, and we just sit there all day.
Gotta happen.
Yeah.
Actually, I just had another thought, because that just kind of reminded me of another spot that's similar to that in Golden Horseshoe, which is another favorite place to go to watch shows and eat food and sit and charge your phone, all kinds of things. Golden Horseshoe is a favorite place for that. And if you are looking at the stage, just directly to the right of it is Walt's box, which is my favorite place to sit, because it's where Walt used to sit to watch the shows. So
cool. Definitely
had to interject
sit
that.
there and check it out. However, if there are performers at that time,
they're going to pick on you.
They're going to pick on you. So just a forewarning. But yes, we love doing that. Next, at Cabo Dutton said, I always, while I was reading this, I'm like, I hope. Because they're all smashed together. There's no, so like,
we could be saying it wrong or not.
But yeah, at Cabo Dutton said, people watch and the pear martini at Carthay Circle Lounge.
Ooh,
we haven't had that yet.
Great.
That sounds incredible. We definitely need to check that
Anything
out.
Pear, I'm about it.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out next time we're at Carthay Circle.
For sure. And then at Market House Podcast, you just celebrated 3 years of being a podcast. Major congrats to you guys. We love you guys so much. So glad to be a part of this Northern California Disney podcasting trio that we kind of have going on here. It's so fun. But they said walk around the park with a coffee or snack. So great. Now we move on to another section, which is kind of characters and etc. If you want to come in here. So
many. Another good friend at It's Lauren Renee said going to Mickey's house and the princess shows at the Royal Theater. So fun. Yes, we've only done that maybe once or twice, but definitely a fun area to go and watch a show. And next one comes from at Ty Boogie 24, who said meet the characters. At Fam Travel Folio said character interactions. So yes, definitely all the characters are a must in the park.
Yeah.
Agree with all of you guys. At Joshua _Purvis 32 said watch the parades or check the new merchandise that they might have and meet some of the characters. Oh yeah. So good. At 2024 _02 Thek.
Or the K.
The K. I don't know. Look at parades / shows and try to meet Disney characters. Yep.
So great.
So good. At Parks and Pals UK.
See, they're smashed together.
Okay. I was about to read it and it would have sounded really funny. That could have sounded much worse. I'm glad you jumped in. Said magic happens, the best parade.
Yeah.
It is a great one.
That's when magic. It's very rare that I sing on the show, but thank you.
Well done.
I have to.
That's how it's done.
That's my best performance yet.
Last but not least, our last entry comes from at Bootsy319, who said shopping.
Yeah.
Always a great pastime in Disney. Yeah. So much shopping to do.
Ooh. Wow. It's almost like you just don't even want to think about your bank account while you're there.
You kind of do forget about finances when you're in Disney.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Check that credit card balance when you get home. You're like, oh.
You're like, well, I have a lot of points now.
Yeah.
But
you can always justify it. There's always ways to justify the Disney spending.
It's rough. But oh my God, you guys are amazing. Thank you for all of these responses.
Lots of good answers.
We have some amazing followers for sure.
We do.
It feels so good to be back with my wife, Emily, here.
So good to be back.
Just a little PSA, will not be having an episode next week because we will be in Hawaii.
In Hawaii.
Oh yeah,
I'm
where
so
Stitch
excited.
and Lilo live.
It's true.
And no, we are not going to be at Aulani.
Wish we were, but
sad. But on Aulani, everyone asks us because they know that we're Disney people. Like going to Hawaii, they're like, "Oh, so you're going to Aulani?" They're like, "Okay, we're Disney fans, but we're not like rich.
We're not balling.
We're not balling. Yeah, we can't just go to Aulani." But on that topic, we're hoping very soon to have someone on our show, someone who's absolutely amazing. But I want to solidify it before I say her name, on our show to talk about her recent experience at Aulani. So if you are considering that and you want to know the ins and outs and the best things to do,
tune in.
Have her on. So definitely subscribe if you aren't, so you don't miss it, or follow so you can watch that episode. She's great and I cannot wait for that. But yes, no episode next week. We're going to have a nice relaxing time.
We've got a week in Hawaii. Yes.
After that, we hope you have a great weekend and a great week while we're off, but we'll see you soon. We love you guys, and we will catch you all in a little bit. Have a good one.
See you later, guys. Bye.